Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently driving a large vehicle over a bridge that I'm trying to get him over. It's David Thompson.
Hey, what's up, Mark? How you doing, brother?
Good. So, Dave here, I worked with him for years in Comic-Cons. We traveled all over the country, didn't we? We did some Toronto. Yeah. We've been to other countries.
We've been places.
Yeah. We've seen things.
We've seen things. We've been places. We're war torn.
We look off with a dead stare in our eyes and we say we've seen things. We've seen lines that no one else has ever seen.
Oh my God, we've seen social gatherings unlike anything before. Yeah.
We've herded many people.
Yeah.
But during all these trips, Dave recommended this movie to me called Sorcerer. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't want to watch it. I was like, I don't want to watch some sword and sorcery movie. And you're like, no, man, like. It's a remake of Wages of Fear, directed by Friedkin, with Roy Scheider, made in '77, that got totally ignored when it came out.
Oh my God! Well, first off, yes, been a fan of this movie for a long time. I highly recommend it. And by the way, there's going to be spoilers, so if anybody hasn't seen this movie, watch the movie first, and then listen to this podcast. But it's basically, how can I describe it? It's basically William Friedkin's Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, his malaria vacation.
It was a passion project, and it was so fucked up making it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it was just like more Apocalypse Now. It's just everything went wrong. You know, in that movie, you had Martin Sheen get a heart attack in the middle of filming. I mean, production was stopped and started. This is the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. And if you haven't read his biography, The Friedkin Connection, it pretty much covers his entire career in his own words, and it's a good read.
Yeah, excellent read.
But this movie these aren't good people.
No.
Now, these are anti-heroes, but these aren't good people. These are,
these covered in dirt.
Oh yeah, totally. It was just, but it's just you're rooting for them, but everything is, not only on the screen was life tough, but behind the screens. I mean, I don't know how much you delved into this movie. Everything I picked up. Matter of fact, I watched it again this morning before you called, and there's a few things that I noticed, but one of the things I didn't notice before was on that truck, the Sorcerer truck. By the way, both these trucks have names that are in this movie, and they're almost characters themselves. It was Sorcerer, and then
Lazaro,
yeah. Which would be Lazarus, rising from the dead kind of thing. But the Sorcerer truck, I don't know if you noticed, painted on the hood of the truck is almost the exact same devil that was in The Exorcist.
Oh wow! No, I did not notice that.
Go back and watch. It's right before they start their journey, and they'll pan to the name Sorcerer on the truck, and then they'll pan to the hood, and painted on the hood is that devil from The Exorcist.
That's what it is. Oh, the opening scene there in Sorcerer is kind of what you're talking about. That symbol.
Yeah. Well, that's an Aztecan symbol. Yeah. So the whole thing kind of has that weird devil. I mean, it's a cursed movie.
Fate, can you avoid fate? Is it, you're fated for this? There's a lot of those themes. I love it.
Yeah, no. In his bio, he basically said the whole movie is, there's a quote in the film, the French wife quotes saying, "No one is just anything." And that's basically the way Friedkin looked at this. That was the premise of the movie. No one is just anything. And it's so gut-wrenching to watch, but man, that bridge scene.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so many scenes in that movie, but it's just, oh my God.
I try to stay away from hyperbole, Dave, but while watching this, I kept telling my wife, Megan, this is one of the greatest scenes ever. Megan, this is amazing. Megan, watch this. And so she's watched it with me twice. But I mean, they have the 4 different stories, which they didn't do in Wages of Fear. They have these different vignettes. They get there. There's a massive oil fire, and these 4 dirtbags have to drive 2 badass trucks through 200 miles of jungle with every obstacle imaginable to blow up these oil fires. But along their way, they go over the worst bridges. They have to go through the biggest trees. There's like gorillas. Like it's just a gnarly picture. And let me tell you something. When I was watching this for the first time, and I've worked on film sets before.
And me too, by the way.
Yeah.
not in a capacity you have, but I've seen a few. You know, the Quentin Tarantino comes to mind, one film. But yeah, go ahead. I'm totally there.
I wouldn't have wanted to work on this, Dave. I mean, 50 people had to drop out because of sickness. Five production managers.
Well, he got malaria.
Yeah, he got malaria at the preview.
At the end of the movie, when he went back to L.A., I mean, he was well. Here's the quick story. The one thing he said that ruined this movie was Star Wars. The film came out. Star Wars came out in '77, and this came out in '77. But the funny thing, and it actually is in his autobiography. Apparently, the movie premiered at Grauman's Chinese Theater, and they just, they moved Star Wars. Star Wars had already ended its run, and so they put Sorcerer in there, and it did so badly that the theater pulled it out and put Star Wars back in. Mm-hmm. It's just like, add insult to injury. It's just, but I mean, it's a great American film. And the thing that I like that I guess it was just too ahead of its time was, the country was Star Wars, had Star Wars fever. And here comes a movie where roughly the first, 20 minutes is in languages.
Yeah.
You're trying to put all the stories together, the pre-stories, all these characters. And they're all, you have subtitles and you have, things. And it didn't really start getting into the action part of it until the actual oil well blows up. Mm-hmm. So it was a hard sell. I mean, it just wasn't something people wanted to see at that time. But, man, it just holds up, just like Apocalypse Now. It just holds up as a great film. But, yeah, you're right. There was so much. I mean, it was cursed. You're right. Half the people got sick, but did you know that they had to move the location? Originally, I think he wanted it in Ecuador, and then the Universal wouldn't pay for it. So he finds some spots in the Dominican Republic, and it's perfect.
The river dries up.
The river dries up. Now, that bridge is as much as I love that scene, I guess it got ruined by reading a lot of how they made this movie. Because that thing just looks so purposely rickety. I mean, you don't know how they could have built something, but that bridge cost $3 million. And then they had to move it because the supposedly, river that floods that area dried up. So they actually had to disassemble it and move to a little
Mexico.
Oaxacan village in Mexico and reassemble it there. And then that river starts to dry up. And then they have to divert some water into the river. And then they had to use rain machines and helicopter blades to create the wind blowing on it. But yeah, during that production, according to him, there was an undercover federale in this town. And he comes to him one day, and apparently he was an extra. And nobody knew he was undercover. And he turns to Friedkin and says, I need to talk to you. Half your crew is on drugs, and I'm going to arrest them if they don't leave the country immediately. And Friedkin's just like, what the fuck is going on? So he literally had to go to his crew and send half of them home for fear of going to jail. I mean, that's how serious it was on that. And so that puts him, behind schedule on that. And then on top of that, he leaves after wrapping to go see the start working the editing in LA, and he has to fly from Mexico to El Paso. And on the flight, one of the stunt crew catches a lift with him, and the stunt man has pot in his luggage, and now he's being almost going to go to jail because of this stunt man.
Yeah.
And then, he finally gets released and goes to LA, and then, he gets malaria after, the film premiere. So, I mean, this guy was, just an incredible film, but God, what trouble to get that.
It's a crew killer. I mean, if you think about the miles of, so the generators, I mean, if you're bringing lights out there, those lights need power. So you're running hundreds of feet of cable, hundreds and hundreds of feet of cable. You are there's a scene where Roy Scheider is in some water, and I'm like, he's infected with something. That's not, I don't think that's makeup on them. I think that's like legit scabs and blood and mud. Like they didn't have to do hard makeup. So the crew, man, imagine driving into this jungle. They all stayed in tents driving out. It's a crew killer. And no wonder these people were on drugs. I mean, this is I mean, not always it's it's the 70s.
Well, no, but it's still, it's just, I mean, it was Hollywood in the 70s. I mean, that wasn't unusual, but you're in Mexico and you're on their turf, so it's not,
Yeah, it's just one of those tough things. But I got to tell you, this is one of those movies, and I've talked about a decent amount of these on the podcast, where I love it when a director's at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
And he gets a blank check to make a movie.
Yeah. Well,
you're right.
So he came out of French Connection and The Exorcist, and he was the golden child in Hollywood, and this was his passion project, and the studio let him do it. But yeah, you're right. This was a career killer for him.
I mean, yeah, you get directors like M. Night Shyamalan with The Happening. There's various people who have just made hit after hit. I mean, Exorcist is still one of the highest.
In Hollywood, you're only as good as your last movie.
And the thing is, what I find it interesting with a lot of films where people later on sort of blame, the marketing or the studio or the timing. And I know that Star Wars absolutely wiped out the competition. But for Sorcerer, I mean, it's a movie called Sorcerer, directed by Friedkin, and it's not. He made this movie as a passion project, and if you're patient, if you are, if you allow the movie to immerse you in it and you get used to the vibe, you're gonna love it. But I just think, due to expectations and the theme of the movie, it's no surprise that this film kind of disappeared and the studio was pissed off about it.
Yeah, and the thing, I mean, it basically, like I said, it was doomed from the start. Only because he couldn't get his dream team. This was written for Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
And he pitches to Steve McQueen, and Steve McQueen was just chomping at the bits to play, the role that Roy Snyder is eventually played. But I mean, McQueen was in. Yeah. And that would have been right there, the star power alone. And even Friedkin admits just a close up of Steve McQueen's face was worth every problem that was going to happen with McQueen. And in McQueen's case, he just hooked up with Ali MacGraw. And so they just got married.
He wanted her in it.
He wanted her in it. And he goes, hey, can my wife be in it? Because he goes, my wife, I don't want her coming down for months hanging out, in Dominican Republic. And of course, Friedkin even admitted, oh, by the way, so I told you, to continue the story, I saw him live at the Alamo Draft House. A couple of years ago.
You got the poster, Mondo poster signed for me. That's right behind me right now.
Yeah, I'm jealous because I didn't get one. I should have gotten one too, but I was so mesmerized by him. But let me finish this thought before I get into that Q&A with him. So McQueen says, I need a part for my wife, and being the cocky bastard that he is, that Friedkin is at that time, and he had every right to be. He's like, there's only two female roles. There's a French woman, the wife of the banker, and there's an Indian woman. He goes, there's no part for Allie. And so Steve goes, well, then I'm not. Steve goes, well, how about making her a producer? And Friedkin goes, fuck you.
Associate producer credit.
Yeah. And basically, McQueen goes, well, I'm out. And that was like that killed it. I mean, that killed the star power. It was hard for him to get the studio to back him. At one point, he even talked to Robert Mitchum. I don't know if you knew that. Oh. And Marcello Mastroianno was supposed to play the Frenchman. And so now he's lost. And something happened to Marcello that he dropped out as well. But I mean, you had the star power that would have made this movie like knocked out of the park on the first go around. But without the star power, and with Star Wars, it killed it.
Yeah, so before you get to the Q&A, I don't like it. I don't like him saying this because I listened to a screening that they had, and Friedkin, it was like a 50-minute thing. There was a screening in Wichita. They called up Friedkin. He talked. He answered all the questions. He said he was still really disappointed that he didn't have Steve McQueen. But Roy Scheider, man, that dude was a boss in Jaws. In this movie, I bought every single thing he did. When he was working on that truck, I'm like, he could fix it. When he's driving through here, when he is punching the mud, when he is crawling through this most disgusting water I've ever seen, when he's laughing, when he's delirious, he put his all into it. And I think it's kind of shitty of Friedkin to like talk about how much he wanted McQueen when Scheider, I think he's perfect in this movie. He just didn't bring in audiences. But I kind of hate the slight.
Oh no, I agree. Honestly, it's a solid performance, And I honestly just, I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to see McQueen in it. I think it would have been a different movie. But then again, I think it would have taken away from the overall theme. I don't think McQueen could have played an anti-hero like that. I mean, McQueen plays hero. McQueen plays heroes. Mm-hmm. And Schneider, he wasn't a good guy. None of these guys are good guys. You know, that's why they ended up in that small, you know, the small Mexican town was the fact that they were all escaping the law or arrest or whatever. So I mean, these guys were not good guys, but you know,
terrorist, investment fraud, and then like a mobster.
Yeah. It just. Oh, by the way, more tidbits. Friedkin actually hired, according to his biography.
I know you're going.
He actually hired a arsonist.
Yeah, because the stunt guy couldn't do it.
Because his actual production crew couldn't blow that tree stump. They tried, and it just went like poof, poof. And so he was frustrated as hell. So he calls a guy in Queens, of all things, that's an actual arsonist called Mr. Torch, and hires him and comes down here, and the guy literally blows it up in one day and then flies back home. You know, and it's even that scene, that robbery scene where they rob the church. That apparently he had talked to an actual mobster, and that was a real event. That happened in this real mobster's life, and so he was telling him a story, and Friedkin copied that. So I mean, there's some like real life, you know, mobster story backgrounds that are, you know, kind of tossed into this movie on that. But do
you think they got him at the end? Do you think the two mobsters came in?
You know, the one thing I noticed this morning when I rewatched it. The look on his face, on Roy Scheider's face, he was already dead. Yeah. I mean, he was dead and he didn't know it. Yeah. I mean, the look, and that's the one thing I brought out of the very end with that close up of his face. I went, he's dead and he doesn't know it. Yeah. And so, to not give anything away, but you know, they don't show it, but he didn't get out of there. I mean, that was the whole, everybody basically was doomed to die. So the Q&A. So I went with a dear friend of mine, and John Schooley, and he and I would go to these showings at the Alamo Drafthouse. And I've been such a big fan of this movie and even Friedkin, that I had to go. And of course it was a sellout event, and it was held at the Alamo Drafthouse Ritz, in downtown Austin. By the way, folks, I'm here in lovely Austin, Texas. So, it was a sold out crowd, and you had Tim League, who's the CEO of Alamo Drafthouse, do the Q&A. And so at the end of the movie, you know, he comes out and they talk about the film. And I think one of the things that Friedkin asked the audience was, who has seen this film before? And I think my friend John and I were the only people that raised our hands. The whole class, or the whole place, was filled, I think, with University of Texas film students and fans maybe of his other movies. But there was a handful of people that raised their hands saying that yes, they've seen this movie before. And I was shocked. And then I realized, okay, this isn't The Exorcist. You know, this isn't French Connection. It's one of his lesser known films. But I was just shocked at the film community. Nobody had really seen this movie, and he fought, by the way, for this remastering and getting the rights to put it back out in Blu-ray, because he had said all the other recording or all the other copies of it were not the copies that he liked.
The DVD release was just kind of crapped out.
Yeah, but he apparently, I mean, to add insult to injury, I mean, he had to fight with Universal and Paramount just to get this thing, because he wanted to know who owned the rights. Nobody knew who the rights were, because apparently Universal, the rights were over after 25 years. It turns out that, you know, they weren't playing ball with them, and he wanted to know who actually owns the rights, because he wanted to get into this situation of remastering it and getting it back out there to the public. And he finally won. But again, it was just, you know, like an ongoing cursed process of this movie that, that lingered with him even after it was made. But getting back to the Q&A, it was brilliant. I mean, it was great to hear his words and how this movie was made. but he admits during the Q&A that he was a cocky bastard, and that people should have died. Literally, he said people should have died, and he wasn't concerned. At least in my feeling, he wasn't concerned about the safety. He just had to get the shot.
Yeah, it didn't look like it at all. But that's why it holds up, right?
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, that was controlled chaos. That bridge scene. The trucks were bolted down. I mean, that whole thing was a marvel as far as Hollywood magic. I mean, it looks like it's going to disintegrate, in seconds. But it was brilliantly done. But even at that point, he admits that this thing, people should have died. And that's what makes this thing it looks gut wrenching. I don't know how they shot it. I really don't.
I gotta say, I've watched a lot of movies where I hate the rain in it because you'll see a rain machine, but it's only raining in a 20-foot radius. And then you can tell in the background.
The sky is still not light.
Yeah, and like there's no rain 20 feet around. But in these scenes that they shot, and they went through 2 DPs on this movie as well.
Yeah.
The first guy lost confidence, and then they brought in the other guy. And, the other guy just brought in reflectors to make more light. He actually made pretty simple choices to make it look better.
The first guy messed up. They were using natural light, and the jungle was dark, and it wasn't picking up on the film. So they had to bring it in and redo it. But, again, part of the jinx of this movie. But, yeah, I mean, I'm amazed it happened, but it was just, oh God. I mean, that the whole thing works. I mean, like I said, folks, if you haven't seen this movie, the first 20 minutes are going to be a little slow just to get backstories, but God, this thing picks up, and you're just on the edge of your seat, just going, these guys should have died. Well, in real life, I mean, it was just, it was tremendous. I mean, it literally is one of the top 10 movies of my pick on that. But
I mean, there were a few people who Ebert was into it back in the day, but then I think it just disappeared so quickly. People just sort of didn't have the chance to watch it.
Yeah, he got creamed in the reviews. I mean, literally just. He in his autobiographies he claims he put on his bathrobe, walked down the driveway, and the press was out there, and he picked up the newspaper, to read the reviews, and literally by the time he got to his doorstep, it was, his face was just ashen. I mean, they were just crucifying him in the press, and I don't know that it was fair, but yeah, there were a handful of people there with it. It's a great American film. I mean, as far as in retrospect, it's kind of sad that people are, coming into it now and saying that it's one of his best films. But at the time, man, as a filmmaker, that must have been a gut punch, man.
I'm not like comparing these films to it, but if you look at recent cases such as maybe A Waterworld, A Lone Ranger, or John Carter, those movies were heavily disliked before they came out. Because remember, the only narrative around them was the budget, how expensive it was, how practical they were. Not John Carter, but Waterworld
I don't think they knew how to market this. I mean, Sorcerer, William Friedkin, they thought Exorcist. Okay, it's going to be another scary movie, and it wasn't. By the way, the name Sorcerer, did you read? It came from Miles.
Yeah, Miles Davis. Yeah.
He was listening to Miles Davis at that time, and Miles Davis' album Sorcerer, and that's where the name came from. And of course, he picked up on the trucks when he was in, I guess, the Dominican Republic. People were painting names on their trucks, and he picked up on that. So that was kind of an interesting piece as far as, the name on that. But
what's kind of funny too is I don't know if this happened during your Q&A, but people were like, yeah, so why'd you name it Sorcerer? And why didn't you name it Wages of Fear? And Friedkin went on a 10-minute thing. He's like, listen, Hamlet has been performed millions of times. Yeah. Each version of Hamlet is an adaptation. It's a book adaptation. Wages of Fear was a book adaptation. Wages of Fear studies the characters. I mean, it dives them in there. There is a female love interest in that. They don't have the backstories in Wages of Fear. So that movie's more about kind of like the human condition. But in this one, Sorcerer, it's completely different. You have the 4 vignettes, and then the characters are more blank slates with an overarching theme of fate, and these people are doomed, and kind of a mood and suspense. So he went on this long thing, Dave, and he got kind of annoyed. But he was cool about it. But he's like Hamlet can be made 70 times. It's not a remake. It's a different adaptation. He's like, the Psycho remake was a remake because it was shot for shot. He's like, I'm really tired of this being called a remake. I mean, do you think that's fair? Or do you think in our culture, though, that's just what we say? Like, it's a remake. Like, it's not anything personal. But, I mean, do you agree with him there?
Yeah. Yeah. I watched Wages of Fear. It's a different film, but it's one of those things that people have. Let's take for example, you're gonna have you're remaking Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's going to be somebody's interpretation of the novel. It may be a reimagination, but it's going to be a different movie than probably what was filmed.
Yeah.
This was the same thing. I mean, it's his take on, you're right, on the book, not so much the movie. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't he dedicate this film to the director of Wages of Fear? I think he did.
That's what I like about Friedkin, man. He makes some weird choices.
He went to the director of this Wages of Fear and told him what he was doing and wanted his blessing, which, nowadays nobody would do that. I mean, really, they wouldn't care, but he wanted his blessing, I guess. And if I'm not mistaken, he said he wanted to give him some of the profits, which there wasn't. This film cost $20 million, and I don't think it's ever recouped.
And it just ballooned, man, because all those days waiting and moving and that's crew sitting around in rental gear. I mean, that's
the sad thing, going back to his career just getting pummeled after this. Universal dropped him. I mean, they dropped the deal with him, and he didn't have anything lined up, I think, until, if I'm not mistaken, in his autobiography, Al Pacino called him, and Al Pacino was hot, in '77.
Yeah.
And asked him to direct Born on the 4th of July, which Tom Cruise got. And Oliver Stone was the writer originally on that movie, with Al Pacino supposedly playing the lead. And they wanted Friedkin to direct it. And Friedkin said yes, but it took so long to get it together that he ended up taking, I think it was the Brinks job, his next movie.
I think so.
I think the Brinks job. And so he ended up having to take the Brinks job, I guess, to, because he needed
keep money in his pocket.
Well, I mean, he wanted to work, and he couldn't wait much longer. But of course, Born on the 4th of July was eventually, he admits Oliver Stone, did a good job with it, and he earned it. But that would have been his next movie, with Pacino, had that not fallen through. But
I'm happy he came back a little bit with To Live and Let Die, and then I also love Killer Joe. I think Killer Joe is a fantastic movie, and Bug to a certain extent. So I'm glad his career didn't die there, because he's had some solid pictures since then, which makes me happy.
Well, let me give you my speaking of solid pictures. The Exorcist is. I'm not a big horror fan, and to this day, I know, our buddy John is a big horror fan. I'm not a huge horror fan, but man, The Exorcist, when I saw that scared the bejesus out of me. But here's my story. When it came out in 73?
Yep.
I took a girl on a first date to see The Exorcist.
Oh no.
About 20 minutes into the movie, she turned to me and said, "Don't ever call me again," and got up and
oh man.
She left me in a theater, and I just kind of went, okay, and stayed and watched the rest of the movie. But literally, she said, "Don't ever call me again." So yeah, that's my Exorcist story. It ruined my love life, but I was determined to watch it through. But man, I'll tell you, that scared the bejesus out of me but because it wasn't as it was more, it could happen. It's not like a monster, lurking in a closet. It's like, this is,
Boris Karloff running around.
Yeah, and it's not a Frankenstein in the corner. It was legitimate, at that time. But he's had. I mean, God.
Those are some good years if you think about it. 73 for Exorcist, 75 for Jaws. I'm going to jump ahead 5 years because I know there's more in between, Rosemary's Baby and some of the other ones. But then I'm just going to jump up to The Shining. I think some of my favorite horror movies were made by.
Yeah.
By people who didn't care about horror pictures.
Yeah, so I like The Omen. The Omen was done really well too.
Yeah, that was Donner. So you have these guys who they're not exactly into making horror movies. They went in and they took horror properties and made films, and then through that process they became scary. And Rosemary's Baby to a certain extent. Absolutely, Rosemary's Baby. I think some of the best horror movies were made by non-horror directors.
Yeah, no, that was a very creepy movie. Very creepy on that. Oh yeah, The Shining, absolutely. I guess I could take that back. I'm a fan of old horror film. Well, not old, but horror films from the 70s, 80s. But I don't know. I'm not into them nowadays. I don't know why. I just I don't get into it. But yeah, you're right. Some of the great directors were directing films that were, of horror status on that. But yeah.
Before we go on break, Dave, I have a question. You and we're two criminals, right? So we're driving a third truck in Sorcerer. What's your name and what's your backstory? So what would be your nickname? So you're David Thompson. I'm Mark Hoffmeyer. Why would you be in Mexico?
Oh God.
What would be your thing?
That's tough.
You're a booze runner, and
I'll say I killed a coworker. Yeah, I would kill a coworker.
So I'm like an underground. Let's say I'm an underground fighter, and then something bad happens.
I'm full on, like, I'm on the run for the law. So yeah. I end up somewhere in the South American jungle.
What's the name of our truck? We have the Lazaro, Sorcerer, and what would be ours? Like Fart?
Suicide Jockeys.
Suicide Jockey. The Expendable. No, what's like a really random name? Like what?
The Expendables. Yeah, I don't know. It's got to have some kind
kicks.
The spin. That's actually, yeah. No, we can call it the
spin kick.
The Lee Marvin experience.
Dante. Hey,
Dante.
There you go.
Dante. There you go.
All right. So our truck is Dante.
Truck is Dante.
Would we make the 200-mile trip?
By the way, no. By the way,
no. You said that so quickly.
Yeah, we were in the first truck to go.
We make it 50 yards.
By the way, speaking of the trucks, the Sorcerer, when it blew up, going back to the film, when it blew up, they did a close-up of the only thing that was recognizable, and that was the front hood of the truck, and there's that devil again.
Oh, wow.
There's the Exorcist devil that I think it looks like the Exorcist devil painted on the front hood, and it's the only thing that survived, and they do a close-up on that. Oh, and here's another story that was in Friedkin's
Hey, wait, you're diverting. How do we blow up if we're in the truck here, man? Like, we're on the run, we're driving Dante. How do we blow up? You and I probably just get chatting and we drive off the road.
Our bad luck would have been. Do you remember the scene where the Native American or the Indian running in front of the truck, and our luck, he would have jumped in the back of the truck and broke open one of the cases and blew us up that way. That would have been our luck.
Yeah, guy's just goofing around, and you and I are like, no.
Around, and then he jumps in the back of the truck and goes, hey, what's this? And opens it up and it blows the truck up. That's the way we would go.
That's funny.
It would just be some random.
A tree branch falls off. We make it past the bridge, and then like a large coconut or something.
That would have been more, I think, gut wrenching, is to get past that bridge and then something stupid like, I don't know, a squirrel dropping a
bird.
Nut. A coconut falling out of a tree, and it smashes the box of dynamite, and the whole thing blows up. That would have been just gut wrenching. That would have been gut wrenching. So
yeah, we would have blown up. I like that. So it's not our fault. It's fate, because we were doomed to go anyway.
Yeah, no, we did something bad, and it was going to catch up with us. So yeah, that's totally right. So.
Right. And so how about this? Before you get in your story, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more Sorcerer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks, and we're in a pickle here. So right now, I am watching on Skype as Dave is trying to blow up a tree that just fell through his house. So he has a tree on there, and what he's doing is he's setting up some nitroglycerin that he had, which is crazy, and then he has
it's stock.
2 rocks. I mean, this is dangerous. Why don't you just leave? I mean, you are sitting on this. Isn't that a great scene? So I mean, this scene in Sorcerer.
It's $10,000 a piece, and these guys are desperate to get out. So yeah, I mean, you want that money.
Yeah,
I mean, even in the beginning, Roy Snyder was like, he thought the other truck blew up, and he was like, oh, that's $20,000 a piece for both of us. I mean, he was in the money. He didn't give a shit about anybody.
Yeah, he was Nilo, I guess. Scanlon and Nilo.
Yeah, he was in this for the money. I mean, he didn't care. And of course, then he wins in the end. He gets 40 grand. But like I said, I mean, he was dead. He just didn't know it on that film. Another tidbit, talk about directors being cocky. And a lot of times, you get these directors that have in their contracts that the studio can't edit the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. In his case, I think it was the same. But how studios want to throw their 2 cents in.
Yeah.
They see a rough cut. And then they turn around and say, okay, we'd like you to do this, or whatever. Cut the language because we want to make it PG, whatever they do. In his case, he was called into Universal, and this again is in his autobiography. William Friedkin's called into Universal to discuss the film that the Universal heads had just witnessed, and They want to talk to him. And of course, now he knows that he's going to get the bigwigs, the moneymakers, to tell him how his film's supposed to be. So he tells his writers, and I think his director of photography, to come with him and to dress down, to like come unshaven, wear your clothes sloppy, put the buttons on the wrong, buttonholes. I mean, just look like you're slobs. And then he's going to come in, do his thing. And he goes, just work with me. He goes, follow my lead. So he goes into the office, and here's his Universal big shot sitting there. They ask him, do you want something to drink? And he goes, yeah, I want a bottle of Smirnoff. So he gets a bottle of
no.
he gets a bottle of Smirnoff, and he doesn't have a glass. He cracks open the bottle and starts drinking it in front of the studio execs. And he even claims he's not much of a drinker. He doesn't hold his liquor very well. But as he's taking swigs of vodka, the Universal heads are saying, well, we want you to put this, this certain thing in the movie. And so he keeps drinking and he keeps drinking as they're telling him they want some changes. The next thing you know, he falls off the chair face down and he's passed out. and that's the end of the meeting. Turns out after he does this, one of the suggestions the Universal had for him was the odometer. So remember when Roy Schneider takes a chalk and writes, was it 218 miles?
Yep.
Above the odometer?
Mm-hmm.
Because Universal said they need to know how far they're going. How far are they going? What's the length of this trip? It was a brilliant. I have to admit, it really made you see how far or how little these guys were going by watching the odometer roll over, and it wasn't anywhere near 218. And then of course when it craps out, the truck eventually breaks down. By the way, that scene was shot in New Mexico.
Yeah, you could tell it looked like that.
Yeah. And it looked creepy. It was otherworldly. It was beautiful. If you look when the truck dies, it's 216. The odometer says 216, meaning he's got 2 more miles to go. And what the fuck is he going to do?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you see is him, coming out of the dark carrying a box of completely dynamite that's just, it shouldn't be moved at all. And he's carrying it in the dark. And of course he comes to the oil fire and these oilmen grab the box of dynamite, and then he collapses in front of the flames and, end of scene. But in my mind, I'm thinking, why didn't he just walk to the oil drilling site, tell the guys, hey, the truck's 2 miles back. And let's get a couple of guys up here to move the 4 or 3 cases of dynamite, but he has to bring one. I don't know if that was in his contract where he actually physically bring a case to the site. I know it added to the suspense, but I was kind of laughing going, I would have just walked the 2 miles and gone and got another truck and come back and got the
and he was throwing that thing all over the place.
Oh, they were slinging. I was sitting there going, I would have waited till maybe morning.
Yeah. I had a chance with the helicopter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that was their first their first thought. But yeah, I could see the vibrations, that thing just blowing up. Even that log scene, that was one case of dynamite. That thing was like a mini nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
That thing was, I mean, he even had the plume going up above the jungle. That was a huge explosion for just one case of dynamite. I can't imagine what,
2 more of those things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was nutty. So
if he was trying to machete that thing though, he'd have been there now. He'd still be there.
That was his I'm gone crazy scene.
Yeah.
He starts just taking machete and hacking in the swamp. I was like, he's lost it. He's gone mad.
That's probably why he carried that thing at the end. Just like, I don't care anymore. I have seen everything known to man. And so I have a question. What do you think about this? I watched a video, and someone said that, so when they all go to the town in Mexico, they're in purgatory, and the fire sort of represents kind of their salvation. Do you take that? Do you think that works? I mean, that's what a lot of people have read into it, saying that they're stuck in purgatory, and then this is their chance to move on.
They're definitely in hell, but I don't think. I mean, nobody gets out of hell.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that when I rewatched it this morning, that close up in the bar, the very last scene, his face is ashen. I mean, all life is drained out of him, and I just said to myself, he's dead. He just doesn't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally looked like The Walking Dead. He just, I mean, there was, he should have been dead. He should have died. And I mean,
he can never go home. So what's he gonna do with this $40,000?
Yeah, no, he knows that too. I mean, the mob's after him.
Yeah.
And if you watch the film, you'll find out that it's, he just can't escape. Nobody can escape from your past. I think that's the whole, doing this may have been the bravest thing you did in your life, but it wasn't redemption. There was no redemption at the end of this film. And that's the other thing, Hollywood today, you want redemption. Most films, at some point, the hero may fall. There's redemption at the end of the movie. There's no redemption for these guys.
None.
Even if all four of them survived, there was no redemption. They're all running from something in the past that will always catch up with them. And I think that's the one thing was, and I use the word suicide jockeys. That was actually quoted in the movie. That the helicopter pilot goes, I can't do this. You need some suicide jockeys, and that's what these guys were. They were suicide jockeys. I mean.
And I think the one guy who might have had kind of the hero's journey was Victor, or Serrano by, Bruno Cremar.
Yeah.
And because he started talking about his wife, and I'm going to get back there, and you think he's going to go back there and make it right and do the right thing. And then
and after watching the film, and I knew what was happening, it still was gut wrenching because as he's talking about his wife, they're showing the tire, close up of the front tire. And you're like, oh no. It's like it looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Things are going to be okay. We're going to make it. You got happy thoughts going on, and then you're like, oh no, and then that tire blows, and then that's it. And then you turn to Roy. You turn to Roy, and you're thinking, what the fuck else could go wrong? And now you've got bandits in the woods that throw that in the mix, and you're like, Jesus. Like
everything that can go wrong will.
Yeah, it's just it was doomed from the start, and I almost want to say it was an analogy of making a movie. It was almost doomed from the start.
I was reading something from Friedkin. I want to know what you think about this. He's like, I think it's the one that most reflects my worldview, which could be described as cynical or jaded. On the other hand, I don't see it that way. I see it as more realistic, which is not to say that I think everything about life is as simplistically difficult and complicated as that. But I think that much of it is. We all wind up the same way no matter what our goals or ambitions are. We have nothing at all to say about how we got into this world or where we're going to leave it. That's what Sorcerer is about. It came closest to my vision at the time, and it's the only film of mine that I wouldn't change. That's kind of gnarly to put on audiences. And
yeah.
I love it. Listen, dude, Dave, this is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
But I can understand why
I'm absolutely glad that I turned you on to it, because it's one of those films where it's a hard sell to some people. But knowing you and your eclectic taste in films, I just I knew that this was something you were going to dig, and I'm doing that now with another friend of mine. I'm actually, I'm kind of asking, have you ever seen this particular movie? They go, no. Oh, we got to watch it. I got to get a new generation of people watching some of these movies, and I kind of lately. I've had a friend over, and we've been watching films, during this quarantine time, and catching up on old stuff. But I mean, I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm honored to be here, but I'm thrilled that I was able to turn you on to this. But I'm actually jealous that I didn't get an autographed copy of that poster.
Yeah, you know what? I got you on Skype right now, so I'll turn my computer so you can see it.
I hate you so much right now.
Yeah, you can see it right behind me, right here.
Yeah,
framed.
And Mondo, which is part of the Alamo Draft House, has done a tremendous job on reissuing a lot of these and making their versions of the posters. But man, I had to do this. I had to go there. I had to see Friedkin for live. That was a bucket list for me. But
this is one of my favorite films because it's kind of twofold. And we were talking about it earlier, but just the blood, the mud, and the beer. You can feel it every scene when there's a guy retching on the toilet. When the guy is cleaning his face with water that he doesn't want to drink, the sweat, the shirts, the mud, these characters' reactions. I mean, he got excellent performances from his core, like Amadou, Francisco Rabal, Bruno Kramer.
Yeah. I mean, I think with all the casting problems, the crew the people that he got were outstanding. By the way, a lot of those were actual villagers. I mean, he used a lot of locals, and that brings he kind of back to the Exorcist story. He mentioned when I did watch this Q&A with him at the Alamo Draft House, he said that when he showed up at this little Oaxacan village, they scouted it first and deemed it, a great spot to do that bridge scene. And then they come back full production and the town is empty.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone. And he turns and I think to one of the locals said, "Where is everybody?" And they go, "Oh, they found out that you're the director of The Exorcist, and that freaked them out, and they're so religious and so scared that you're coming that they left." And so the town literally emptied out, and he had to get extras from other areas because people wouldn't come back to the city because he was the director of The Exorcist. So it was just nutty how
I love it.
It's just, I mean, like I said, yes, that's probably what he's going to be well known for, but it's a shame that, this film isn't, up there for most people. I think it has. I think it's come back. I think it's gotten to the point where people recognize brilliant movies that may have been ahead of their time, but movies that were not, where the hero was not necessarily a hero.
Yeah. It has big time backers, man. Kermode is backing it. Tarantino backs it.
Yeah.
One thing, though, I want to ask you, and I kind of want to see what you think about is, we touched on this a bit earlier, but in the beginning, there are these 4 vignettes. So we get to meet people in different areas where, we learn one's a hitman, one's a terrorist, one's kind of a banker who owes a lot of money, and the other guy is a mobster and things go wrong. That takes about 20, 25 minutes to get through. Yeah. And when we get to these characters and we journey with them and we spend time with them and we go on some of the most stressful kind of situations with them, we still never learn. There's no character motivation, not motivation. There's no character development.
How does a banker know how to drive a truck?
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of like with this thing, though, we spend 25 minutes with characters who remain blank slates the entire time. So It kind of makes me wonder, listen, I really liked the learning about their backstories, but I don't think that was needed. I think we could have gotten that from the guy. One of the guys is still wearing his wedding ring. Another guy knows how to work bombs, right? Another guy is adept with a gun. So instead of those 25 minutes of traveling around the world with characters we never know anything that's going on inside their brains. Well, do you think that 25 minutes was necessary?
You're thinking now. Let's take the Humphrey Bogart movie, Treasure of Sierra Nevada.
Yeah. Wait, Sierra Madre.
Sierra
Nevada. That's the remake.
I don't know.
That's the remake.
I don't know. I'm thinking of a beer now. Anyway, in that Humphrey Bogart movie, speaking of which, I'm going to have a sip of wine. Thanks very much. In that movie, you're right. All the characters in that film showed up in this small town in a bar, and you didn't get their backstory. And they get recruited to go on hunting gold, hunting for gold. The backstory wasn't all that important to the film. I understand what you're going with, but I think in this case, it was important. It was an international group of people. It wasn't a bunch of expatriate Americans that were hiding out in Mexico. This was a global, group of guys that, by the way, for whatever reason, I don't understand how they all chose that particular town. I mean, I know in Roy's case, his character was told just go to Pier 54 and get on the ship. Where's it going? I don't know. Just get on the ship. So in his case, it was a random thing, but everybody else, they didn't actually explain why they got to that particular town. Because if I was running, especially the banker, if he had funds, I would have gone someplace nicer. But
Sierra Nevada.
I would have gotten another bottle of Sierra Nevada. And it's fine.
Got a nice apartment. Lives a nice bougie lifestyle.
Life.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I said that.
No, wow. No, I think it's funny. So what you're saying is we get to an international vibe, and then we kind of learn who these people are, and also maybe another thing, Dave, is we learn who they are in the beginning, so we don't have to deal with it later. So in some movies where who are you? Well, let me do a flashback. So I guess you get that all out the way, so when we're on the journey, we know who they are.
Well, you're right. They could have been on the road in these trucks and then had flashbacks to their particular reason, what brought them there. But I think that would have taken away from the intensity of being in a truck full of unstable dynamite.
What's crazy? Sorry, I just jumped on that. But you get Victor. he negotiates the contracts. So we learn in that scene in the village that he's smart, that he knows how to be a lawyer and how to manipulate money, that he knows how to kind of figure all this out. So we know he's savvy with money. We know that Kasim is good with bombs. We know that Nilo is good with guns, and he's a bully. He has this evil glare in his eyes. And then Scanlan is just a roughneck, angry, like guy who probably got there under circumstances he wasn't planning. I guess for me, when I learn about characters, there's a movie called the Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner, but we're introduced to Edward Norton's character when he's running in the rain at 4 a.m. And so when you see that scene, you're thinking, this guy is running in the rain at 4 a.m. That's all we need to know about his character, right? He's driven. He has a schedule. He's athletic. Nothing will stop him. So right. I kind of like it when actions speak. So I don't know. I kind of wonder why he chose this. I mean, I would never ask him. He's a much better filmmaker than me. He had made French Connection. He had made, Exorcist. He had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted. But I guess that's if someone, put nitroglycerin on my head and told me to say one thing I hate about, not hate, I love this movie. One quibble I have. That's my quibble.
I never really found out what his passion was, why this particular film.
They told him no.
Probably. You can't do it.
Sounds like you at work.
Yeah.
No, Dave, don't go back there. Don't go back there. And then you toe the line.
But you said, no, I'm going back there.
You do the shuffle back.
A lot of people have passion projects. And for whatever reason, they got to get it out of their system. I feel that's, again, we're going to go back to Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola, that was his passion project, and damn near killed him and multiple other people to get it made. And you know what I wish? I wish there was a documentary. Maybe there is. I wish there was a documentary on the making of this movie, much like Apocalypse Now.
I have an interesting thing for you. So they asked him that question, why he didn't have a similar one to Apocalypse Now. And what he said was, the reason that thing was made in Apocalypse Now is because Coppola's wife was there and she was bored. So she just picked up a camera and started filming. In this one, they didn't have, the studio wouldn't fund it. And so they had no EPK, no home video. I don't think he wanted people to know what was going on behind the scenes. So they just never filmed it. They never did anything behind the scenes. So that's kind of why.
I would have loved to have seen the bridge building process, the process of shooting that scene.
The fake rain look so good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what I read, he planned. He was smart enough to know that he had to wait until overcast. So a lot of that scene was shot late in the day, so it could be cloud because the clouds rolled in, I guess, late afternoon. So he was the one that waited until it was cloudy again, so it looked like it was actual rain. But those were like rain making machines and a helicopter that was brought in to. I will tell you that I don't know how they did this. But the scene where they're on the bridge and the giant tree comes floating down the river and smashes into the bridge.
Yeah.
That was so sudden and so scary. I was like, how the hell did they do that? It looks legit. It looks so real. And you're like, okay, you're in the middle of a bridge, in the middle of a monsoon, in a raging river below you, and here comes a giant tree and it smashes into you. And I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? And that's what else is going to get thrown at these guys? That's why I said it would have been so perfect to get through all that and then get on the other side of the bridge and then a coconut drops out of the tree and
not about us. We're like high-fiving in the car.
That would have been you and me. We literally been high-fiving each other and a coconut would have fallen on a tree and blow the whole truck up and us. So yeah, that would have been our end.
Wait. You and I are driving. We're the third car. So
Dante, the last one over the bridge.
So we're the last one over. It took us extra long. And then what happens is the Sorcerer blows up. And then the Lazaro gets shot. The engine gets shot and he stops. That'd be funny if we drive past Roy Scheider's character and we're just like, na 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 na, and we're like laughing and like we're like dancing in the car, just like, yeah. And also like we hit a bump. Like a big bump. Boom, boom.
I don't understand why Roy's character wasn't driving the main title truck. you see Sorcerer, Roy's the lead in this thing. He wasn't driving the Sorcerer truck.
I think that's smart though, because you might expect the Sorcerer to make it, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, when have there been cars with as much personality in this? I mean,
that goes down. Yeah, you're right. Speaking of, of famous vehicles, that goes down as one of the cinema's, by the way, that was a character in itself. Did you see the front grille?
Yeah.
It looks like a devil.
Yep.
It's evil looking. It's got ridges for horns. It's got an evil grin or face on it, that grill. And I know that was why that truck was chosen. But that's a character in itself. That thing is just flat out evil looking.
Big heavy duty.
No, it was an old army truck. But the other thing is, I didn't realize this until watching it again, and they were smart. Did you notice that the exhaust on those trucks were forward? The exhaust routed to go to the front grill, so that it wouldn't go back and heat up the dynamite in the back. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't have thought about that. As a filmmaker, I would not have thought about that at all. But they rerouted the exhaust to go to the front of the truck instead of the back because of the dynamite. And I was like, okay, that's a minutia detail that was pretty brilliant in the thinking. Because I would have never thought that. I'm like, okay, let's just get the truck, load the dynamite, and get going. But they actually, reversed engineered the exhaust to come out the front. So that was an interesting, design on that. But
what do you think about the Tangerine Dream score?
Oh my God, I was going to bring that up. Tangerine Dream. Apparently William Friedkin saw them on. He was doing a promotional tour for The Exorcist, and he was in Germany, and somebody brought him to a Tangerine Dream concert in the middle of the old abandoned church in the Black Forest in Germany. Mm-hmm. And he fell in love with the band. He said there was no lights. It was just lights from the electronic keyboards they were using. And he was hooked. Yep. And he got these guys, basically sent them a script of what he was doing. They didn't see the film. They were working off script. And they sent them back, what they thought. And it's a great score. It's one of the great scores. Those guys have been... I think they took off a little bit more in the 80s than they did in the 70s. But, man, Tangerine Dream.
I love their Near Dark score.
Risky Business.
Mm-hmm.
What else? They did
Near Dark.
Yeah. Oh, my God. They did so many great things in
Johnny
it.
and the Tchotchkes.
Johnny and the Tchotchkes.
Yeah.
The Ernest Borgnine story.
Yeah. That was a made for TV. It was great. By
the way, folks, we've created in our history, we've created a fake band that we're
the Lee Marvin Experience.
The Lee Marvin Experience, and then we were renamed the Ernest Borgnine Trio.
Yep.
And then that eventually went into Izzy and the Wizards.
Yeah, Izzy.
And our only hit song was Boom Bap.
Yeah.
And then we were known for scoring a Pizza Hut commercial, and that was...
Wait, no, Domino's. Domino's! Domino's Pizza, Domino's!
Right. That's enough nonsense. We literally, oh my God, man, I miss you so much.
We work Comic-Cons, and these days are really long. I mean, we get up at 6:30 a.m. Dave and I were pretty much the first ones there. We helped get everyone in. Then we basically were the last ones out to make sure everyone was off the floor. And then we go, a few select of us would just find like the best local restaurants and go have a couple whiskeys and some good food. And through those nights, we came up with some weird band names.
I think we even shot some band cover photo, band.
Oh yeah, we did for sure.
Chain link fence, that kind of stuff on it.
Yeah, so a night in Portland after the Rogue Brewery, that's what happened.
That's the other thing is we bonded over movies.
Yeah, talked a lot.
We talked a lot about films, and it was hard. You're in Comic-Con, you can't help but be around a lot of the actors that are in a lot of your favorite movies.
Yeah, tell me about it. We couldn't get you away from them.
Yeah, whatever. I was just doing my job. Hey man, I was just doing my job.
So I know how to get Dave riled up. I can get him going on for hours about stuff.
I was just doing my job. But yeah, I think we bonded over that, and like I said, we both traded off on movies that our favorite films. Of course, I'm like twice your age. I'm old, and I have a lot of film knowledge, but there's a lot of films that I don't know that that you turn me on to. So I'm grateful for that.
You had never heard of a movie called The Night at the Roxbury, and now it's like your favorite film.
No, and then again, you still don't believe that Echo and the Bunnymen are a real band. So
the most elaborate hoax ever.
I have put on the most elaborate hoax, folks, by telling him that Echo and the Bunnymen are a real band, and he doesn't believe me. So
they're not real. Hey, so final thoughts about Sorcerer before we get out of here?
Make sure you watch the remastered version, not anything else, because it's not William Friedkin approved. I think you can download it. I believe it is on Apple. You can download it, or you can buy it. But make sure it's the newest version of this, because it looks great. The quality of the film, it holds up. If you want to see a great American film with some great actors, and despite all the trouble, behind the scene troubles, despite all the misery that it put him through, I think it's one of his best films, and I couldn't recommend it enough to any novice, or rewatch it if you haven't watched it in a long time, because there's still, like I said, I'm still picking up stuff that I haven't seen, little nuances of action or actors' faces or something going on in the background that I'd never noticed before, and it's just one of those films that I never get tired of watching it ever. And it's such a great film.
I don't know. Yeah, you summed it up. It's grit, grime. You're on the edge of your seat. I don't think there's another movie that can punch you in the gut as much as this one can. I have a surprise for you, Dave.
Well, by the way, the Alamo just recently showed it before, we had to close for the quarantine. They showed it again in the theaters, and they do it on a regular basis, and it always sells out.
Oh, wow. Well, you got to see it on that big screen.
Oh, no, on the big screen, that bridge scene is just, you're literally leaning forward in your seat, and your mouth is open, and you're going, holy Christ, what the hell, how the hell are they going to get out of this?
On the big screen, that bridge scene?
Big screen, bridge scene, yeah.
Say it 10 times, Dave.
No, I don't think the world needs to hear me slur my words.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a 1977 draft, but you can't add New Hope. All right, so you're going to pick 5 movies, I'm going to pick 5 movies, and I'll give you first pick. So if you need to pull up Google, you can. But so you pick one, I pick one, you pick one, I pick one. And they're movies released in 1977 because it was such a stacked year.
Oh, my God.
No A New Hope.
See, that cuts out just about everything on that. 1977?
No, dude. I mean, there's Annie Hall, Close Encounters, Spy Who Loved Me, Saturday Night Fever, Slapshot, Sorcerer, Eraserhead, Bridge Too Far, Hills Have Eyes, Kentucky Fried Movie, The Deep, Peach Dragon, The Gauntlet. I mean, the Duelist came out, Rabid, House, Orca, Pumping Iron. Dude, you never heard of these? Have you not watched these?
Yeah, I have. I'm just like, oh my God. It's just.
What's your first pick, Dave?
I don't recall. You know what? Close Encounters, obviously.
All right, you're doing Close Encounters?
I think that's probably going to be the big one of that particular time frame, but I don't know. All
right, so my pick now.
Richard Dreyfuss irritates me, so I'm not at. I got to go with Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, so you're going Saturday Night. Oh, your first pick, Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah, let's go with Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, man. Oh, Dave. Saturday Night Fever. Do I want to pick something stupid, or do I want to pick something that might help me win this thing? I'm going to go...
Go for the win.
Nah, I'm not. I'm doing Sorcerer. I don't care.
Okay.
All right, what's your next pick?
Oh, wait. I thought we already put... Okay. See, now you cheated. You didn't tell me I could put Sorcerer in this.
We can't do New Hope. That's the only one we can't do.
Okay, well then, obviously we're talking about Sorcerer. I'd put Sorcerer as number 1. Saturday Night Fever number 2.
No. You have to pick. So we each have our first round pick. You have to pick your second round pick now.
All right. Okay, Sorcerer then, since I missed.
No, I already picked Sorcerer.
Oh, I can't do this.
It's gone. It's off the board.
Right. Then Saturday Night Fever is my first one.
Yeah.
Okay, your second one is.
No, I picked Sorcerer.
All right, so I have to go.
Yeah, you pick your second one.
Slapshot with Paul Newman.
Man, that was my pick. Dang it, Dave. I'll do Eraserhead.
Oh God, that's Man, I'm telling you, that's going to be. Oh, you know what was really great was Wizards, the cartoon, the Ralph Bashki.
All right, you doing Wizards?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do. Let's see. Oh, I had one. I'm gonna do Kentucky Fried Movie. I love that movie.
Was there a talking penis in that film?
I'm sure there was.
Is that you're gonna go with that?
Yeah, of course I am. Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's. And we have to do 5.
Yeah. Do you never go on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, Dave? I have all these polls.
Well, I do, but I
You got to go to Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, and you can vote on this.
Well, I do vote on your stuff on Facebook, but as far as like picking up films from a certain year, that's, oh God. I'm a huge James Bond fan, so I got to go with The Spy Who Loved Me, even though I'm not a Roger Moore fan.
Dave is falling apart here. I love it.
Well, you killed me with Star Wars. I can't use Star Wars, so.
I'll do The Hills Have Eyes.
I'm going with Airport 77.
All right. The Hills Have Eyes. Airport. All right, so that's your last pick. Airport 77. Pick. So I have one pick left. There's Annie Hall. I'm not picking Annie Hall. I'm stupid, but whatever. You know what? I know there's Close Encounters. High Anxiety I enjoy. The Deep is fun. The Duelist, Ridley Scott. Very good movie. Pumping Iron. Excellent documentary. I'm going to do Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That'll get me votes.
That'll get you votes?
Yep.
All right.
So you have Saturday Night Fever, Slapshot, Wizard, Spy Who Loved Me, Airport 77. I have Sorcerer, Eraserhead, Kentucky Fried Movie, The Hills Have Eyes, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I'll put this up on Movies, Films, and Flicks, Facebook. So come like us over there, and you can vote for me, because Dave has a terrible team.
I got stumped. That wasn't fair. You could have warned me in advance. I would have had my list ready, but now I'm winging it.
But that's the MFF podcast, man.
Night Fever was a solid film. Come on.
I don't think of these polls ahead of time. I let them flow. And then I come up with it because I don't want it to be too planned out. I want Dave to get shaky knees.
Well, all right. You shook me to the core.
Well, this was fun, man. Thank you for joining me.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What are you watching? What are you watching now? Now we're locked down in quarantine.
Oh my goodness.
What have you been viewing lately?
Tales from the Loop. I've enjoyed that on Amazon. I think it's very thoughtful. It's very deliberate. I love the cinematography. I think it builds towards moments as opposed to a bunch of different. It builds towards something. It's kind of like a different world technology in the 1970s. I also watched. I love The Magicians. That's been really good. We watched Westworld.
Solid, great stuff.
Ton of movies, and let's see.
I just finished...
Gentified. We've been watching Gentified on Netflix.
I have not seen that. Just finished The Boys. I'm late to that.
Oh, that's good.
I've been rewatching 80s comedies. I don't know why. Oh, and then all the Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep shorts. I don't know.
Those are great.
I need lightheartedness. So I've been watching all these 80s comedies. I just rewatched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I just rewatched Groundhog Day. And here's my question to you. How long was Bill Murray repeating the same day? I'm thinking it was minimum 10 years.
Oh, I mean, to learn the piano, to do the ice sculptures.
He also had a doctor's degree, according to one of the scenes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he was locked into limbo for 10 years. At least.
I'm saying 2000.
Really?
I've never thought about it. I'm going to say at least 50.
I started thinking about that or watching. I went, okay, there are some references that about months, but everything else was leading to, like, I think he's been locked down for 10 years at least.
37 years.
Anyway, food for thought for a future podcast.
We'll start researching and we'll talk about it.
All right.
All right, let's go. Well, hey, thanks for joining me, man.
All right. Cool, man. You feeling well? Doing right?
Yeah, living the dream.
Yeah, same here, brother. Hopefully we'll get through this madness together, and I miss you, and I appreciate you letting me on your show today. I really do.
That's great. You didn't wreck it.
Well, I think Chili is now reevaluating the number one spot, but we'll come back.
So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for David Mad Dog Thompson, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.